That is going to be posted in just about 2 seconds. So thank you, everybody, for a great show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Music News at Noon. This is where we look at today's headlines, tech, and what is going on in the music industry. We're going to be starting our program here in just a moment. Keep in mind that you can invite your friends to join the show, and if you'd like to offer your thoughts on today's topics, you can request to come to the stage and participate in the discussion. You can find all of today's headlines from our website, musicindustrycity.com. Head to the latest Music News at Noon post to see all the articles covered here during the show and to sign up for free to unlock full access to all the content for the music business. You can also watch us live, yes, live, right on the video stream, right from the website or on Music Industry City YouTube channel. Make sure that you visit our website, register for free, follow along with our headlines, and check out all of the great resources at our website. Our website, once again, is musicindustrycity.com. You can also watch us live on the YouTube channel, Music Industry City on YouTube. We're going to be starting our broadcast here in just a moment. Thanks for joining us. Make sure that you ping your friends in and invite them to join. Now we begin our countdown. Welcome to the news.
From New York, it's the Music News at Noon on the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. I'm Peter Schwing, and please welcome me in please join me in welcoming my co-host Eli Window and our UK correspondent Angela Randall. Sorry about that. I just totally the lights were turned off here for a second.
That's okay. Yeah, that's what happens when the lights are off. Hello, Peter. Hello, Angela, and hello, everyone. It's great to see you today.
Hello from the sunny shores of the United Kingdom. Hope all is well over there in New York.
But the studio light just went off, and also I was trying to stream to green room, and it was locked out. So I'm like, oh god, I got to start this. So let's get started. In today's news, we are going to be talking about streaming services. Our niche streaming service is the new thing. Linktree launches new music link feature. Nighttime sector wants UK government to axe vaccine checks, and China is banning karaoke songs. Plus, more social platform clonings are cloning social platforms. And as always, our daily Spotify update. Those stories are coming up. But first, let's take a look at this day in music history with Eli Window. Eli.
All right. Thanks, Peter. Let's take a look at this day in music history. And just to take a quick look at the last few days in music history, we want to remember Lisa Lee, a leading figure in the country music industry and most recently Senior VP of Creative and Content for the Academy of Country Music. She passed away Saturday at age 52. The cause of death was brain cancer. In memory. Also in memory, DJ and producer Ian Carey has died at the age of 46. He was a multi-platinum artist who worked with major contemporary music artists such as Tayo Cruz, Snoop Dogg, Afrojack, and Timbaland. In memory. And on this day in 1998, we lost producer Gene Page, who died after a long illness. He worked with Barbra Streisand, Barry White, the Righteous Brothers, produced Whitney Houston's Greatest Love of All, and Roberta Flack's Tonight I Celebrate My Love. In memory, Gene Page. Moving on, birthdays today. Born on this date, 1948, French instrumentalist Jean-Michel Jarre. And born this date, 1961, Mark Bedford, bass for Madness. Born on this date, 1963, John Bush of Anthrax. And born this date, 1968, Andreas Kisser from Brazilian heavy metal Sepultura. Moving on to this day in music history. On August 24th, 1975, Queen started recording Bohemian Rhapsody at Rockland Studio. Over 3 weeks in May, Mercury and Taylor sang their vocal parts continually for 10 to 12 hours a day, resulting in 180 separate overdubs for Bohemian Rhapsody. On August 24th, 1981, Mark Chapman was given a 20-year jail sentence for the murder of John Lennon. The 25-year-old had shot Lennon 5 times at close range on December 8th, 1980, in front of the Dakota apartment building in New York City. On August 24th, 1996, Oasis singer Liam Gallagher failed to turn up for the recording of the band's MTV Unplugged session at London's Royal Festival Hall in front of 400 fans. He later sat in the audience and watched the show with his brother Noel taking over on vocals. And on August 24th, 2009, the Los Angeles County coroner ruled Michael Jackson's death a homicide caused by a mix of drugs meant to treat insomnia. Crazy day in music history. That's it for On This Day in Music History. Back over to you, Peter.
All right. Thank you for that, Eli. Hey, anything with the Gallagher brothers? I'm sure they were fighting. He was probably mocking him from the audience, saying he doesn't know.
I feel like maybe that was a publicity stunt. Maybe they did that on purpose.
It's the Gallagher. So, all right. So anyway, let's talk about what's going to happen today. This to set the stage for the conversation. We bring you summaries and commentary on the latest headlines. If you'd like to offer your thoughts on one of today's topics, request to join the stage. I'd also like to say hi to everyone that is viewing the show on our video live stream, which is on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and you can also view it directly from the musicindustrycity.com website. To stay up to date on this and other programming, you can sign up for free at musicindustrycity.com for more news, articles, and events. All right, with that being said, let's get to it. All right, and this first piece is from CompleteMusicUpdate.com. To check out all the articles referenced in today's show and throughout the week, go to musicindustrycity.com, where you can click on the today's date with the Music News at Noon banner, so you can follow along with everything that we're talking about. And if you want to join the stage during the conversation to join in, feel free to raise your hand. All right, so John Lydon loses legal battle of Sex Pistols band agreement. He lost a high-profile legal dispute over whether he has the right to refuse the use of Sex Pistols music in a new TV drama called Pistol, which is based on Sex Pistols memoir Steve Jones. The London High Court determined that an old band agreement was still in effect, which implies that a license can be awarded provided a majority of the band's members agree. Lydon attempted to prevent the issuance of a sync license permitting the use of Sex Pistols music in the program. The decades-old band agreement indicated that such a sync deal may be given if a majority of the band members accepted. Lydon said he couldn't remember signing the contract and that paperwork frightens him. But, he added, the band has always assumed that license deals require majority approval. Jones and Cook stated that they had never used the majority rule previously, partly to avoid a fight with Lydon. They insisted that this does not invalidate the agreement. And yesterday, Anthony Mann agreed. His statement further stated that Lydon had competent legal and managerial consultants in both the UK and the US at the time of the agreement signing. The judge went on to say, quote, "It is highly likely that even if he did not read the agreement himself, it will have been explained to him and he will have understood its effects. The inherent likelihood of that is reinforced by his own evidence about his concerns to protect the Sex Pistols legacy. A man with those concerns, which I accept he had, would expect to be made to understand important documents that he was signing. He would not have been cavalier about that." Go show, pay attention to what you are signing. All right. Moving on. This is from Music Ally. OneDrop and MapleStream are very focused on streaming services. So the reason I'm bringing this one up here is, we look at, we always talk about Spotify. We always talk about Apple Music. And then sometimes there might be a Deezer or a Tidal. Well, these are niche streaming services. And the question is, will niche streaming services for specific genres or regions ever gain traction? The verdict is still out on that one, but in 2021, more services are giving it a shot. OneDrop and MapleStream are the newest examples this week. So OneDrop's focus is on reggae, dancehall, and other Jamaican music genres. It has soft launched as an iOS app with audio, video, and podcasts. And the CEO, Norman Williams, in an interview with Dancehall Mag said, quote, "It will stand out because it was created by Jamaicans who know and understand our music and how it should be sequenced and curated." And the second streaming platform is MapleStream, which, as the name implies, focuses on Canadian music. According to the Trebas Institute and Icebox Music, it is pitched as, quote, a uniquely Canadian music streaming platform to ensure indie artists are recognized and fairly monetized, according to its head, Rick Levine. He says, we can do it in Canada and show the rest of the world of how to do it right. And it is currently crowdfunding its way towards the launch. So it's a tough market. I mean, you look at even like platforms like Qobuz that has been around for a long time, since 2007, I believe, somewhere around there. And then you also look at Deezer, which is in probably the most countries out of all the platforms. And they're still not number-wise competing with Spotify and Apple Music, but they are successful. Are these, does anybody have thoughts about, like, how are these niche? Are they going to be too niche? Are they going to be able to, how do they pay for operations? What kind of fees going to be associated? How are they going to pay out? They're saying that they can be fairly compensated. So these are the type of challenges. It's, we like to have options, but we also want to have these platforms succeed. So, all right, let's moving on. So from music business worldwide, Linktree acquires Songlink, Audacity, and launches Music Link feature. So we've all seen these Linktrees, these other platforms, like just the little, here's a button, find me here, subscribe to my Patreon, here's my website, here's my latest video. This one is saying that Songlink and Audacity will be integrated into Linktree's new Music Link feature, which helps artists grow their digital streaming footprint and fans discover new music. So Linktree believes this acquisition and feature will help it become a one-stop shop for tours, merchandise, and streaming. Right now, Linktree has over 16 million users, and what they're describing this as saying that Music Link recognizes and shows the same song or album across all the music streaming services, allowing listeners to listen in on their preferred platform. Streaming results are then tailored for each Linktree's visitor's location, and interactions with Spotify embedded content count as streams for the artists. Artists with the Linktree Pro accounts may track fan involvement, including the most popular streaming services, fan locations, and platform traffic. It's interesting to see how they're building onto this and, really tailoring it, tying it all together. And, if they're offering more analytics and everything, that's always a good thing. See, Rachel has joined us. Hey, Rachel, you raised your hand. Is there something you wanted to talk about?
Just about the streaming services, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I was talking with Keith Kirk a couple times this past week about metadata, and he was saying that there are about 7,000 different streaming services out there that indie artists are on, can be collecting on. So I'm just wondering that maybe that is the future, that there's just going to be thousands and thousands of streaming services, and it won't just be the major ones that we're paying attention to today.
Right. I mean, there's other streaming services that are tailored more specific to a genre. I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank right now, but there's one that is more like what they would classify as world music, classical, jazz. And so that's a big focus there. And because if you try to search classical music on Spotify or Apple Music, it's so difficult to find anything because there's so many different versions of these, a piece of music, and who is the conductor, what was the orchestra that performed it, so it's so confusing. But that other platform helps to, make the search engine has an easier discoverable search engine. So that's a great benefit. And those numbers, I mean, that's thousands. Yeah, I can imagine there's plenty out there we don't know of. There are that high def audio, like Qobuz, that's their niche, and Tidal was theirs. So it's really interesting to see how all this comes in play. I mean, even when we're talking about how many social audio drop-in apps there are right now after Clubhouse, and there's already hundreds and hundreds that are out there. But yeah, I mean, being able to monetize but collect from all these platforms is that microeconomics, micro payments. So when artists talk about Spotify's not paying enough. Well, maybe you're going to make more money per stream on another platform, but those numbers might not be there. So if you get, $100 from Spotify that's paying you a certain rate, a lower rate than another platform where you get $50, but they're paying you a higher rate. So it all ties in together. But where do you tell your audience to go? And then your marketing is like, hey, go check out this platform, check out this platform. How do these platforms survive is the other question, because there's some of them out there that are free. Say, no, you don't have to pay. We have free streaming for you. What are any more thoughts on that, Rachel?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, these are really good questions. It's interesting to see how that all plays out, because if people are going to be doing different services, if, it's going to be like mass distribution, mass collection of royalties across these thousands and thousands of platforms. I mean, it just seems to me like things will be changing if all of this starts to catch on and artists start to see that there are more opportunities on different platforms. I just think the whole thing can change once indie artists starts to catch on certain things.
Right on. Yeah, it's important to pay attention, and there's, as an indie musician, there's all these other platforms. We're looking at white labeling your own distribution platform. So you have things like that it's like, you'll be able to have your own distribution platform. You won't have to go through DistroKid. You can white label it. You can have your own roster of artists. You can have much more control, and then you can set your royalty rates. You can set your splits. You can have that all within, and then you can just pick which platforms you are going to. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities. It's just about how much more time can a musician dedicate to trying to learn and trying to know and trying to get people to pay attention to these other platforms. So thank you for bringing that up, Rachel. Appreciate it.
That's a great point, Peter, and very well said. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. With that, let's check in with Eli.
All right, let's check in with me. Thanks, Peter. And make sure that you check in with your friends as well. Don't forget that you can invite your friends to join the show. They can participate in the conversation the same as you by requesting to come to our stage or by commenting in the chat if you are watching in our video live stream. And hi to all of our viewers today. Make sure that you join the club and follow your co-hosts and moderators. And did you know you can also watch the video live stream right from our website, and you can access other content and articles, including our weekday 3-minute Music News podcast, which keeps you up to date on items that might not be covered here in the Music News at Noon, such as new releases, tours, musical chairs, business and tech news, all in 3 minutes or less. We'd like to thank you so much again for tuning into the Music News at Noon, live from New York each Monday through Thursday at noon. Now let's continue with our headlines. We see China is banning music that, quote, insults or defames others in its $50,000 karaoke venues. With more on this headline, we go to our UK correspondent, Angela Randall. Angela?
Actually, we have we're going to be talking about the new stats from the event research program. I think.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I think I jumped ahead there. I apologize about that. Let's go ahead with our next headline. Peter, would you please introduce that?
Yeah, this one is, we're going to have a double header on the UK as well. So new stats from the event research program further confirms full capacity shows can be COVID safe. And this one from Complete Music Update. And again, you can go to musicindustrycity.com and click on today's date for the Music News at Noon to get the headlines if you want to follow along. But Angela, I know you have a lot to say about this, so why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Peter. The UK government has released new data from its events research program, revealing the number of people who got COVID-19 at each given concert was roughly in line with general infection rates at the time. The conclusion is that, quote, mass participation events can be conducted safely, but caution must still be taken around specific aspects of event participation, end quote. Early this year, venues and promoters staged test events to determine what actions they could take to limit the chance of coronavirus spreading. These figures show how many COVID cases were documented by the NHS test and trace system after each ERP incident. In general, COVID infection rates were in line with or below population infection rates at any given moment. The latest ERP statistics, according to the report, validate what we already knew. While shows, concerts, and sporting events can go on without creating major COVID rises, numerous precautions should be taken to reduce the risk of infection. It advised caution when attending unstructured events when attendees are in close contact for prolonged periods, when viewers are crowded in venues, when traveling to and from events, and when mixing indoors before, during, and after events. It's important to note, obviously, we've been keeping you up to date on this as the weeks have gone by, but it's important to note that the upcoming Reading and Leeds festivals will be major milestones for the UK recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic with regard to live touring and live performances, as the festivals are going ahead with minimal COVID measures in place. But I have attended multiple different size venues, live gigs myself in the last few weeks. And in many cases, people are wearing masks, they're social distancing, they're using all sorts of, hand washing and sanitizing, hand sanitizing stations and that sort of thing, as well as I attended an event recently that had I think it was a venue about 2,000 people strong. And we weren't masked, we were social distance, but we were all asked to provide either proof of a vaccination, double vaccination, or natural immunity. So it certainly is a good sign to see that the research confirms what we all knew to be true. And of course, I think the next article that we're discussing is going to talk more about the con side of that, if I'm not mistaken, Peter.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that. So let's put this back to back here, because these were announced right after each other. And this one is the nighttime sector calls on the government to axe the plans of forcing vaccine checks at the club. So it's coming from the Nighttime Industries Association, the NTIA, and they've called on the UK government to abandon plans to force clubs and other venues to check people's COVID vaccination status starting at the end of next month, arguing that doing so will hinder the revival of nighttime and live entertainment sectors. And so the article, to paraphrase, going on and say the government urged venues to check COVID status of consumers at the door when COVID rules were abolished in England last month, but there is still no obligation. However, Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced that by the end of the month, select establishments will be required to check each customer's COVID passport, which validates their vaccination status. So some ministers appear to be opposed to the initiative. However, Johnson's team is sure it will go forward. So there's confusion. So this is different than what was originally stated. And now there's even more confusion. And to go on, the sector's biggest threat now is the likelihood of having to examine COVID passports before the end of the month. Some fear that any additional COVID outbreaks in September will be blamed on the nightlife and live entertainment industries. Addressing the Prime Minister, the NTIA boss Michael Kill said, quote, "Mr. Johnson, the industry has supported your public health strategy for over 18 months, proving we can operate safely without affecting infection rates as many felt we would. So give credit where it's due and allow the industry the freedom to determine its own mitigations, as has been done for many years prior to this pandemic. But more importantly, do not mandate COVID passports." He goes on even more sternly, "Contrary to popular belief, much of our core market and workforce will not accept being coerced into taking the vaccine. The workforce is shrinking and illegal events are being organized today in light of the impending restrictions. How can this be anything but counterproductive?" And he finalizes with, "Our industry cannot be blamed or subject to the failings or impact of other settings. It is abundantly clear the impact of opening our sector has not impacted rates to levels suggested." He concluded, it is important that the government recognize the value of our contribution and the uncertainty and work with us in recognizing the impact of the proposed measures." Angela, this is, the Nighttime Industry Association, the live music sector, nighttime, has been, he politely said, "We've been supporting you." But honestly, from what it sounded like is everybody's been against, what's been happening. These organizations and the music sector and now hospitality has kind of been let's say, the odd people out when sports are okay. And now we're seeing more of this and, the vaccine, the COVID passes. And they're saying that, talking about these illegal events are being organized. So people are going to go do this. So do you want to have people doing illegal events, or do you want to have it in more official standpoint? So what are you hearing out there, and what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the key takeaway from this is also to follow the money. When you think about sporting events, they have a massive TV audience that they aim to please, whether they have physical audience members in attendance or not. They're still going to get that massive balloon payment for Sky and BT and all of the other sports broadcast networks will get their money. But when it comes down to physical attendance being the primary driver of that revenue stream, the government probably just doesn't want to find themselves beholden to having to give these venues some kind of insurance coverage or some kind of percentage if they can only sell at half capacity, or if they lose attendees based on COVID restrictions because people want refunds or don't wish to attend if passports are required. So I think that NTIA boss Michael Kill is incredibly proactive with regard to this and recognizes his community is not the same as what would be a sports community, but they just want to be treated fairly and use the study and use the information that we've collected over these months and months of trials to be able to make a case that says these are safe events. We're doing the best we can. This is why we're getting vaccinated. This is why we have to sort of learn to live with some level of COVID, albeit not ideally, but it's just become a necessary fact of life at this stage. And as a result, he's kind of fighting for the corner that says we need somebody to see us differently than these other sorts of events. That's mostly what I'm hearing.
All right. Thank you for that. It just seems this has been the ongoing battle, the daily grind for the last 6-7 months. And there's not any other news outside the UK except for this battle.
Yeah, and of course, we'll keep you updated as soon as more information becomes available. But trust, if you happen to run or work for a venue in the UK, Michael Kill is definitely a good guy to have in your corner.
Right on. All right. Let's stay on the international tip for just one more. This is China. This was a little interesting one. This from Music Business Worldwide. And again, you can go to musicindustrycity.com and click the Music News at Noon banner for today's post and see all the headlines that we are talking about. So this one is China is banning music that, quote, insults or defames others in its 50,000 karaoke venues. As of October 1st, any music that violates a new set of government standards will be forbidden from being played in China's almost 50,000 karaoke bars, according to the China's Ministry of Culture and Tourism. On Reddit, and you can go to the article and see the entire list of the rules here, but there was a translation that they pulled from Reddit with the new governing laws, stating music that violates any of the following will be declared illegal content and banned. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will go through a few just to give you an idea of what is they're going to ban you for. That which violates the basic principles determined by China's constitution, that which harms national unity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, that which endangers national security or harms national honor or interests, that which incites ethnic hatred or ethnic discrimination, hurts ethnic feelings, encroaches on ethnic customs and habits, or undermines ethnic unity. That which violates the state religious policy or promotes cults and superstitions. That which advocates, criminal activity, such as obscenity, gambling, and drugs, or instigates crimes. That which is in contrary to public morality or the ethnicity's exceptional cultural traditions. So it goes on, and the Chinese government agents, they say that the venue should shoulder the responsibility for censoring music that breaks any of the above rules. The Chinese government agents will be holding inspections and spot checks to ensure compliance. And, it's interesting because you have like this ambiguous wording that might potentially allow the CCP to ban anything they want, like recordings deemed as contrary to public morality. So it's vague. And, this is something that's happening over there. So, when we talk about freedom and everything, it's like, well, I think we're pretty lucky. All right. Let's talk about some tech here. This is from 9to5Mac. Instagram ditching swipe up gesture to access links. It will replace with stickers. Using the swipe up gesture to access links will be discontinued on August 30th. Instead, a new link sticker will be used. And at that time, The Verge reported that these stickers will operate the same way as a swipe up link does, except with a tap instead of a swipe. That also means that people will be able to respond to stories that include a sticker, something that is not possible on stories with the swipe up link. And with the removal of swipe up links, Instagram users with over 10,000 followers are verified will no longer be distinguished from other Instagrammers. So there's also no word if they're going to allow this to people that are unverified or less than 10,000. So, but makes it easier. I mean, how were people like really digging this swipe up thing? I think that's probably the question. And this will be easier access to just press the button. All right, another update from TikTok. And this is from TechCrunch. TikTok is building its own AR development platform called TikTok Effects Studio. Well, they're doing this because guess what? Other platforms have this, so why not make every single platform have the same features and functionality? So starting off, both Facebook and Snap already provide developers with tools to create augmented reality experiences and features for their own app families. Now, TikTok wants to follow suit. The company just released TikTok Effects Studio, a creative tool set that allows its own developer community to create AR effects for TikTok's short-form video app. TikTok's new Effect House website invites developers to join up for early access to the Effects Studio, and the corporation couldn't say when the tools will be more widely available. Instead, TikTok described Effects Studio as an early experiment that doesn't always debut. And also other trials may have significantly changed between early beta and the final product. So just keep you up to date on, I think we should just have a segment or a section on the musicindustrycity.com website. I don't know. Let me know what you think of this. If we just have like a forum that just says updates to all these different platforms, we can have just like, here's your social media update to this platform. Here's the rollout. Now Facebook has Reels. I mean, it seems like every week there's one or two that is adding something, and it's hard to keep on top of everything. So let me know what you think. If you think that would be good, we can have that on Music Industry City. We can put it on the website as a resource section. And if you're interested, we can make it public so everybody can update and keep everybody updated. So let me know what you think. With that being said, let's go to our favorite time of the segment.
Big green dot hits the spot. The big green dot, it does hit the spot. It is now time for our Spotify spot, where we're going to take a look at the latest updates from the streaming service. But before we do that, we do want to check in with your weather. It is officially time for that itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. So dust it off and do your sit-ups. And now over to Peter for the Spotify spot.
Yeah, and well, we are in New York. We're supposed to hit like 97 degrees on Thursday, so it's going to be a good time to hit the beach. All right. With that being said, Spotify announced another share buyback scheme. Spotify announced last Friday, which could see them spending $1 billion to buy back anything up to 10 million of its own shares. The company's general meeting and board authorized the share buyback program through April 2026. So there's no rush to buy those shares, and, quote, the timing and actual number of shares repurchased will depend on a variety of factors, including price, general business and market conditions, and alternative investment opportunities. All right. So, yeah, I mean, for all of you out there that, own some shares, maybe you can get the buyback. Spotify announced a similar plan in November 2018, 7 months after the company went public on the New York Stock Exchange. These buyback programs can increase a company's share price by reducing the number of shares in circulation, and many remaining shareholders clearly appreciate it. And that is it for the read. So let's open up to the roundtable. If anybody, I'm going to put a few minutes on the clock here. And if anyone would like to offer up any comments, now is your chance. Raise your hand, jump in, and want to talk about anything. And, one thing on the Spotify tip was, of course, as soon as they say, hey, they got $1 billion to buy back, stock, every musician's going, well, you could also pay us more. But, Spotify has to answer to shareholders, not the musicians in their mind.
Oh my gosh, that's the truth. That is the truth. And while that resonates around the room, I just want to remind everybody that if you'd like to offer your thoughts on today's topics, you can feel free to request to join the stage, or you can post something in the chat, chime in, let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget, we have all of today's headlines at musicindustrycity.com. So raise your hand and chime in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on today's headlines as we come into the final few moments here of our Music News at Noon. And don't forget to join us each Monday through Thursday. Angela, was there anything that stuck out for you today in our headlines? Any final thoughts for us?
I'm really loving the forward-thinking karaoke closures. I think any step in the right direction is one that will prevent future hurt. So it may not be perfect, but it's a step forward, I'd say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we wrap up, I want to thank you all so much. Angela, thank you for your final thoughts, and thank you for everyone who joined our conversation today. Thanks for joining the Music News at Noon. We hope that you're going to join us again here each and every weekday at 12 Eastern. That is Monday through Thursday. You can also visit our website and stay up to date on all the current happenings in the music industry. You can join the community, and you can access other amazing resources. That website again is musicindustrycity.com. My name is Eli Window, and on behalf of our UK correspondent, Angela Randall, I want to say thank you so much for being part of our broadcast today. And now I want to conclude with Peter's final thoughts. Peter Schwing, my co-host. Peter?
Right on. Well, Mike just, back channeled me.
Oh,
and
there's Mike. Hey, Mike.
And Mike,
I was reading
Mike
and I
just
didn't
had
notice.
something
Hi,
in.
Mike.
Yeah,
And
just
Mike,
saw the news as we were talking, or as you were talking here, that Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones drummer, has passed at age 80.
Was there any was it sudden? Was it something that, did it say anything more?
It has literally just come out that I just got the alert as you were wrapping up the show here. It says Rolling Stones, it's from BBC, Rolling Stones drummer Charlie Watts has died at age 80, his publicist said. More follows, but it's a breaking story.
Yeah,
Very
so
sad.
so this is, what an amazing drummer. I mean, I just pulled it up and I went back to, so earlier this month on August 5th, I saw this article here. CNN was, it was saying that he was going to miss the band's upcoming tour through North America. And it was just after he turned 80 in June and had undergone a medical procedure for an unknown condition. And a spokesperson for the Stones issued a statement on Twitter saying the drummer needs to rest and recover. And the quote was, Charlie has had a procedure which was completely successful, but his doctors this week concluded that he now needs proper rest and recuperation. With rehearsals starting in a couple of weeks, is very disappointing to say the least, but it's also fair to say no one saw this coming. So, yeah, and Charlie, he wrote in a statement, he goes, quote, "For once, my timing has been a little off." I mean, oh my, that's such a one. I mean, talk about a human metronome. I mean, a human metronome that has the groove. I mean, just, and he would play entire songs without hitting the crash cymbal. He was like minimal. He's like, you don't need to have the crash and the splash and all of that going all the time. He, just his style was such a unique, brand of drumming.
Indeed. Yeah, I agree. It was sad he wasn't going to make the tour. I still wanted to go see them. I've seen them a couple times, but the last couple times they've come around, it's just been you got to go see them. It might be the last time.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, in these legacy tours that are happening. So, if, our favorite musicians, some of them is starting to get up there. So just get out there. All right, and hopefully we can all get out there. So be safe, everybody. We're going to wrap up. And, thank you, Mike, for that update. It is as sad as it is to hear, but, may he rest in peace. And with that, everybody, have a good day. We will be back here tomorrow, and you can check out more at musicindustrycity.com and check in with us tomorrow. Have a great one.
Cheerio.
It's great to see you all. I hope you have a great day. Mike, thanks for sharing that news with us. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Good to see everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. We'll see you tomorrow.